Discover the cursed depths, 7 sinister secrets of the haunted lake. Spine-chilling crab creature. The air around Cedar Hollow felt heavy, thick with an unsettling blend of humidity and dread. Children's laughter echoed faintly, but for Sarah, each laugh resounded like a ghostly taunt. She was just a waitress, barely scraping by, but today she decided to take her son Timmy to the old lake, the one cloaked in whispered legends and dark tales. Little did she know, the murky waters held more sinister secrets than she could fathom. As they reached the shores, Sarah spread a tattered blanket over the worn grass, the once vibrant colors now faded. Timmy rushed towards the water, his tiny fingers eager to toss stones, the curiosity of his youth only amplifying her protective instincts. "Just stay close, sweetheart," she called, her heart tightening with an inexplicable fear, as shadows danced over the lake's surface, twisting in ways that felt unnatural. Suddenly, he giggled, a sound she loved. Then silence. Panic gripped her chest like a vice when she turned to find him gone. "Timmy." Her voice echoed, barely making it through the oppressive air. The playful splashes of the lake morphed into an eerie hush, the wind's whisper feeling like a breath against her cheek. "Timmy." She ran, desperation driving her forward, each frantic shout swallowed by the gathering darkness. The trees leaned in, their gnarled branches reaching like fingers, as if to conceal secrets even deeper than the lake. Moments stretched into eternities, her heart pounded loud enough to drown out the world. She was alone, fighting against the shadows. She raced back to town, each familiar face now a mask of fear and uncertainty. The whispers followed her, stories of a creature lurking beneath the lake, a spine-chilling crab creature that had lured children before. Sheriff Collins, usually her steadfast ally, looked at her with pity, a glance that struck her more profoundly than any words. "You're just stressed, Sarah," he said dismissively, and with that, her faint hope crumbled. "Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. Determined to uncover the truth, she sought out Edna, the local historian with a penchant for dark tales. Edna's eyes widened as Sarah recounted her nightmare. "Children have gone missing, Sarah, each mother's love tested by the lake," she stammered. The folklore twisted from mere stories into chilling realities. Could the creature be a living embodiment of their collective failures, their guilt residing in the cold depths? As the sun surrendered to a twilight painted in deep purples, a mournful wail echoed across the water, sending chills racing down her spine. It sounded like a child, lost and pleading. Shadows loomed closer, curling around her like a noose. Sarah stood at the water's edge, her heart hammering, battling the growing fear in her throat. She had to choose, risk her fears or keep running. With a deep breath, Sarah approached the lake, her resolve both battered and ignited with desperation. "Timmy!" she screamed into the stillness. The water rippled, mocking her call. With every inch forward, she felt the pull of the unknown, the weight of sorrow, and the haunting question: had she lost her son to the very depths that cradled their dreams? Each step forward felt like a plunge into the abyss, carrying the shivering hope hidden in every mother's heart. Sarah's heart raced as she hovered at the water's edge, the lake's surface glistening under the fading light. Each ripple seemed to breathe a dark invitation, pulling her closer to the secrets that lay beneath. The haunting wail echoed again, sharper this time, and she swore she could hear Timmy's laughter tangled within the sorrowful cries. It drew her in like a moth to a flame. "Timmy!" she screamed again, urgency twisting her voice into a desperate plea. She stepped into the water, the chill wrapping around her ankles like cold fingers. Each moment felt agonizing, suffocating, dreams and reality blurred, twisting like the shadows at the periphery of her vision. The water deepened around her, reflecting the growing dread in her heart. What if he was beneath her? What if he had been taken by whatever dark force haunted these waters? A part of her wished to turn back, to run like hell, but there was a fierceness in motherhood that anchored her. She wouldn't leave without him. As she waded deeper, the silence morphed into an oppressive weight. No birds dared to sing, no crickets chirped. Only the water lapped at her legs, an ominous reminder that she was venturing where children's laughter once thrived. Now it was but an echo, a mocking ghost of innocence lost. Suddenly, a splash echoed, sharp and shocking, sending waves crashing against her. Sarah's breath hitched. Timmy. She turned, scanning the depths, the icy water creeping higher. Then she saw it, a shadow gliding just beneath the surface. Panic surged through her. Was it him? Or the cursed creature that had waited for her? She stumbled backward, waist deep in the lake, eyes wide with fear. The water churned violently before calm reasserted itself. Seconds ticked by, each heavier than the last. A pair of enormous claws broke through the surface, glistening like polished stone in the twilight. The eerie shadows transformed into the unmistakable outline of a creature, its eyes glinting with a malevolent intelligence that sent a bolt of icy terror racing down her spine. This was it. This was the spine-chilling crab creature. In that moment, instinct took over. She turned and sprinted back toward the shore. Disorienting panic clawed at her throat, urging her legs to move faster. Glancing back, she caught sight of the creature fully breaking the surface, its grotesque body rising like a nightmare from the depths. Those eyes, gleaming yellow and hungry, bore right into her, freezing the blood in her veins, but then she heard a faint whimper. No. It couldn't be. The primal sound pierced through her fear, and against her better judgment, she halted. Had the creature taken Timmy? Timmy! She cried, desperation spilling from her as she scanned the murky depths. The wind shifted, and suddenly, a boyish figure emerged from behind a rock at the shore, splattered with mud but alive. Relief flooded through her, balancing on the knife's edge of fear. Mommy! He called, arms outstretched. As Sarah rushed toward him, however, a shudder reverberated through the ground. The creature surged towards the shore, a monstrous wave following in its wake, cutting off her escape. She was torn between her son and the horrifying reality threatening to swallow them whole. In that electrifying moment, all she could think was how she had uncovered something far more terrifying than she ever imagined. The lake wasn't just cursed, it was alive and hungry, now, standing at the precipice of an unspeakable choice: save her son or confront the creature. Sarah felt the true depth of her fear. She had come in search of Timmy, but what awaited her at the lake was a darkness that might consume them both. As the water crashed, the creature loomed closer, its claws glistening, waiting to claim its next victim. Would she have the strength to fight, or was her love destined to lead her into the abyss? The creature's claws arched and glimmered, ready to strike, yet Sarah felt an equally powerful force pulling her toward her son. Timmy's wide eyes were pools of innocence surrounded by chaos, a beacon of hope amidst the horror. Mommy! Help me! He cried, his voice thin, trembling against the booming sound of waves crashing. She took a step forward, but the water was still moving, as if controlled by the malicious intent of the beast looming behind her. She hesitated, fear slicing through her resolve. Then she gripped her chest, feeling the rhythm of her heartbeat echoing the panic that surged through her. It boiled inside her, a fierce need to protect her child, no matter the danger. Stay back, Timmy! Sarah shouted, her voice strained, as if speaking was a battle all on its own. The creature surged again, and instinct kicked in. She had to act, and she had to act fast. With a swift motion, she grabbed a rock from the shore and hurled it into the water, creating a distraction. The beast's gaze shifted, claws splashing as it turned its attention to the disturbance. Run! She yelled, hoping he could hear her over the roaring dark. Timmy hesitated, confusion written all over his face. She could see him fighting the instinct to flee, anchored by the love he felt for her. But she couldn't let her fear imprison him. In an instant, he darted to the side, away from the advancing creature. Sarah felt her heart soar with pride even as terror gripped her, but the creature was relentless. A monstrous roar erupted, reverberating through the air. Sarah turned back, her legs screaming at her, whether from fear or exhaustion, she couldn't tell. The water churned violently, and the creature was closing in. She felt herself being pulled by two tides, one toward her son, and the other into the icy depths of the lake. "Timmy, come here," she called again. But the child had fallen, trembling, seemingly trapped in a trance as he watched the creature drawing closer. Sarah took a step towards him, and with that, a new wave of evil swept over them, pushing the water up toward her, growing fiercely like the desperate tide of a storm. The creature lunged, claws reaching for both of them. "No!" she screamed, adrenaline coursing through her veins. With all her might, Sarah sprinted forward, planning to scoop Timmy into her arms. But before she could reach him, an otherworldly force burst forth from the water, a column of darkness erupting as if the lake itself wanted to swallow them both whole. As she fought against the pull, she glanced at her son, whose eyes were filled with horror, mirroring the monstrous visage of the creature. In a moment of sheer panic, feeling every instinct clamor for survival, Sarah made a choice. She screamed the truth she never wanted to face. "I need to save you, Timmy. No matter what." With one last desperate effort, she leaped forward, clinging to her son, pulling him hard against her. The dark water surged around them, the claws just inches from their flesh, the jaws of the creature's mouth opening wide. In that chaos, a blinding light erupted from deep within the lake, flaring out as though the sun had suddenly dropped into the water. The shadows twisted and recoiled, all blinding gold against the dark threat. Timmy gasped, and Sarah felt a sudden surge of warmth wrapping around them, cocooning them amidst the chaos. But her fleeting sense of comfort was snatched away as the blaring force of the creature slammed back. The light faded, leaving only darkness creeping back, suffocating and relentless. Panicking, Sarah clung closer to Timmy. The lake was alive, the evil far deeper than she realized. What darkness had she awakened? She had saved him for now. But the creature was still there, lurking, waiting to strike. As she turned back toward the shore, unsure if they were safe, the wind howled a sinister tune, hinting at the real challenge yet to come. The lake, in its rage, whispered secrets of vengeance, and dread crept into the shadows. What would they face next? What lay beneath the dark surface? The darkness around them thickened, tightening like a noose. The lake was not finished with them yet. Would the true horror of the depths reveal itself soon? The water thrashed around Sarah and Timmy as they pulled themselves closer to the shore, the weight of the darkness clinging to them like a hungry predator. Each wave crashed, the sound echoing a deep, guttural growl that seemed to belong to the creature now fully revealed in moments of panic. Shadows twisted on the surface, moving in ways that made her doubt her own sanity. "Mommy," Timmy whispered, his small voice trembling. Clinging to her, he felt fragile like a leaf in the storm. Sarah glanced down at him, his eyes still wide with terror. "Just keep moving, honey," she urged, pushing through her own fear. They inched toward the safety of the rocky shore, her heart thudding painfully. Lights flickered in her mind's eye, the remnants of that fierce glow from the lake's depths momentarily distracting her from the chaos, but the creature was no longer just a shadow, it was part of the water, the very water that held their lives in balance. The claws clacked dangerously as it shifted just beneath the surface, seeking its next target. Sarah could feel the malevolence lurking closer with every step. "Mom! It's there!" Timmy shouted, pointing to the inky water. She didn't have to look back to know, the air itself was charged with the creature's presence. "Keep moving," she hissed, urging them onward. But a sudden ripping wave surged toward them, as if the lake were tearing itself apart. They stumbled, nearly losing their footing. Water sprayed around them, cold and biting, and the creature roared, a sound so feral it froze her blood. Then, another blinding flash ignited beneath the surface. The light had returned, pulsing and glowing, but this time it brought no comfort. Instead, it felt like a siren call, a lure that tugged at the edges of her will. She staggered, struggling against the force of the being awakening from its slumber. "Mommy! What is it?" Timmy cried, panic painting his face. "I don't know," she could barely answer. As they scrambled across slippery rocks, Sarah felt a tightening knot of doom in her chest. They needed to get to solid ground, to escape this nightmare, but the ground itself seemed unstable. The shoreline twisted into a menacing grin, the rocks framing their escape shifting as the water curled around them. Suddenly, Sarah stumbled. She looked back, and Timmy had tripped. A gasp escaped her. The boy fell against the wet stones, and before she could reach him, the monstrous shadow emerged fully from the depths. It was massive jaws dripping darkness, teeth glinting with malice, eyes two glowing slits that pierced through the night. The wind howled, carrying ethereal whispers that churned within Sarah's mind. Leave no. Sarah shouted, grasping for her son. She sprinted back, throwing herself onto Timmy, wrapping her arms around him. The whispers pounded louder, urging her to submit, to turn away. The creature stepped forward, water cascading from its hulking frame as it towered above them, exuding both power and ancient dread. A moment of sheer defiance flared inside her. "You want to take us?" she yelled, the fight coursing through her, but doubt slithered in, strangling her resolve. Her heart raced, terror and determination battling within her. Timmy whimpered, and the creature paused, swaying as if sensing something hidden within their bond. With a flash of horrific realization, Sarah understood. It craved connection. It wanted to engulf them, make them part of its eternal darkness. "Not today," she mouthed, sealing a silent promise to protect him. Then, as if responding to her will, that otherworldly light exploded again, illuminating the night with a brilliance that pushed back the creature momentarily. But darkness was relentless. The lake shuddered, and the creature lunged. Sarah and Timmy pressed against the shore, the very earth shaking beneath them, uncertainty gnawing at Sarah's insides. What was it that compelled the creature? What did it want from them? And as the ominous waves rolled closer, an ageless voice echoed through the chaos, enticing them with the memories of those lost fingers stretching out of the water, beckoning with familiar faces. Could they resist the call? Or was the lake destined to swallow their cries forever? The final moment felt like a threshold, and Sarah wondered if stepping over would lead to salvation or something far worse. The battle for their souls had just begun. Where would it end? The earth shuddered as Sarah and Timmy clung to each other, trembling. The creature loomed over them, its vast body a shadow against the tumultuous sky. Its eyes flickered with an insatiable hunger, and the whispers intensified, invading Sarah's thoughts with taunting memories that were far too familiar. Faces of lost loved ones mingled with the darkness, their eyes desperate, pleading. "Mom! We have to go." Timmy's voice broke through the fog of fear. He tugged on her arm, pulling her toward the jagged rocks, but she felt frozen, trapped between instinct and the creature's siren call. The light pulsed beneath the surface again, a beacon of hope wrapped in agony. Something whispered inside her, a question that danced on the edge of her consciousness. What if the light was a way out? "No!" she yelled, shaking her head violently. The pull of the whispers grew stronger, wrapping around her mind like vines. "Timmy, we can't listen to it." But Timmy seemed oblivious to her words, his small eyes fixated on the dazzling shine. "But Mommy, it's beautiful." His innocence shimmered, almost breaking through the dreadful veil that surrounded them. In that heartbeat of hesitation, darkness surged. The creature let out a terrible roar, sending a rush of icy wind sweeping across the shoreline. The ground beneath Sarah slipped. She felt terror clawing at her throat as she fought to keep her grip on Timmy. "Hold my hand," she yelled, fear sparking anger. "Don't let go." With a violent splash, the water lunged forward, sweeping over their feet like icy fingers trying to drag them into the depths. As waves crashed around them, they stumbled backward, frantically searching for a secure footing. The whispers differed now, rising higher in urgency, a cacophony of voices, full of madness and longing. Then, from the depths, a hand erupted, clawed and grotesque, reaching for Timmy. It looked like a twisted reflection of a child's hand, broken and wrinkled, yet achingly familiar. Sarah felt her heart explode with a mix of dread and rage. "No! Stop!" she screamed, her voice rising above the chaos. With a sudden surge of adrenaline, she lunged forward, dragging Timmy away from the reaching hand. Panic surged through every vein, and she felt the grip of hopelessness around her, pulling her closer to despair. Timmy's eyes widened as he saw what had reached for him. "Mommy! What is that? It's just a trick, she cried, shaking him gently, desperate to keep him grounded. It's trying to confuse us. Despite her words, fear clawed at Sarah's heart, and she could feel the veil of darkness closing in, surrounding them. The creature thrashed in rage, splashing water in all directions, and the shoreline began to warp under the pressure of its presence. Then, in a moment of chaos, Timmy broke free from her grip, stumbling toward the sing-song call of the light. Mommy, I want to go. No. Timmy, come back. Panic spiraled within her like a hurricane. She lunged forward again, her heart racing as she reached for him, but the shadows deepened, and the creature launched from the water, its maw open wide, revealing a darkness that seemed to swallow the very light of the moon. In that moment, reality twisted. The lake churned, and the world tilted. She felt weightless, suspended between fear and an unimaginable void that it wasn't the light she wanted, it wasn't the dark that called to them. Somewhere in that inky blackness, hope and despair intertwined, and the true essence of the creature glimmered, a reflection of their deepest fears and desires. As Sarah grasped for Timmy, the surface erupted into chaos. The waves roared, crashing against them with an overwhelming force. Together they fought, but with each passing second, Sarah wondered if they would drown in this battle or somehow be drawn into its haunting embrace, and as the creature surged forward, a chilling thought took root in her mind. What if this was not just a struggle for survival, but a test of their very souls? Would she risk everything to protect her son, or would the call of the lake seduce them into surrender? The answer loomed heavy, wrapped in shadows as dark as the creature waiting to consume them. Time was slipping away. What choice would she make? As the water boiled around them, Sarah found a flicker of resolve, but in a world of obsession and fear, choices weren't always theirs to make. A deafening roar erupted around them, ripping through the chaos like a knife. The creature's maw, dripping with the remnants of its latest victims, towered above Sarah and Timmy. Time seemed to freeze, the air thick with tension. Panic surged in Sarah's chest, squeezing tight like a vice. She could barely breathe. Mommy! Timmy cried, his voice trembling, edged with terror. She felt like she was drowning, not just in water, but in fear. Timmy! We need to move. Her voice was frantic, desperation clawing at her. They stumbled backward, the ground shifting under them, unstable as if the earth itself was siding with the monster. The whispers morphed into frenzied echoes of torment, each voice a chilling reminder of the lives lost. Sarah squeezed her eyes shut, trying to block out the images flooding her mind. Faces of her past, twisted and broken, clawed at her consciousness. Mommy, where's Dad? Timmy's innocent question pierced through her haze. It was a dagger, reminding her of everything she had lost. Not now. She snapped, pulling him close. She couldn't let herself break. Not now. The creature slithered closer, its gelatinous body undulating like a wave cresting forward. The smell of decay permeated the air, making her stomach churn. She felt the ground tremble beneath her feet, as if it were alive, eager to drag them down into its embrace. Look! Timmy shouted, his tiny finger pointing at the murky water. The light pulsed again, brighter this time, shimmering beneath the surface. It called to her with an almost siren-like allure. Sarah's heart skipped. There was an undeniable power in that light, a promise of safety amidst the chaos. No, Timmy. It's a trick. She could feel the cold sweat trickling down her back. The whispers grew louder, more insistent. But Timmy's gaze was locked on the light, his small frame trembling with a strange mixture of wonder and fear. But Mommy, I think it wants to help us. Help us? Sarah's voice dripped with bitterness. Did he really think anything in this cursed place could help them? As if in response to her doubt, the creature lunged again, breaking the surface with an explosion of water. Its eyes were fixed on them, glistening with a predatory hunger. Run! Sarah screamed. They turned, stumbling over shifting stones as the water surged around them, pulling them closer. Each wave seemed to carry voices, echoing her name. Sarah. She felt Timmy slip, his small hands slipping from her grasp. No! Panic drove Sarah to her knees, the the cold water surging up to meet her chest. She reached for him, desperation giving her strength. In a heartbeat, the darkness surrounded them, enfolding like a suffocating blanket. Shadows danced in every direction. She could almost hear the chilling laughter of the creature intertwining with the whispers, mocking her fear. It was a nightmare come to life, and she was the helpless prey. "Mommy." Timmy's voice rang clearer now, cracking with fear. "Timmy." She gasped, her heart pounding like a drum. In that frantic moment, she felt something shift. The very ground beneath them pulsed, as if it had its own heartbeat. The shimmering light flickered, drawing her toward it even as it terrified her. "Mommy, I'm scared." Timmy's voice broke through the chaos, and in that instant, she felt a blinding clarity. She couldn't let them be taken. She wouldn't with a newfound determination. She grasped Timmy's hand tightly, pulling him close. "We need to fight." The creature shrieked again, its monstrous sound mingling with the cacophony of lost souls. The waters churned like a boiling cauldron, each wave threatening to swallow them whole. But something shifted in Sarah. She was no longer simply defending, she was ready to confront the terror. Clenching her jaw, she felt a strange power surge within her. Maybe the light wasn't just a lure. Maybe it was the key. "Look, Timmy, we go toward the light together." He nodded, eyes wide with fear but understanding flickering beneath. The weight of despair lifted, replaced by an inkling of hope. They began to move, forging ahead through the thrashing water and toward the glow. As they approached, the darkness recoiled. The whispers faded. But with each step, the ground quaked in protest, and the water twisted violently around them. The beast roared, an unfathomable sound that seemed to shake the very foundation of the world. Sarah knew they were entering the eye of a storm, the final test before freedom or oblivion. But was it truly a way out, or merely the unknown threat disguised in a radiant facade? The answer loomed just ahead, and she braced herself for whatever horror awaited them on the other side. The light grew brighter, enveloping Sarah and Timmy, yet it felt more like a trap than a refuge. As they surged forward, the water seemed to bubble and hiss, wrapping around their legs like tendrils from the abyss. They pushed through, each gulp of air sharp with fear. The echoes of the lost souls reverberated, intensifying as if sensing their approach. "Don't let go, Timmy," Sarah urged, her voice quivering, trying to drown out the growing roar of the creature that had haunted them. The light beckoned, shimmering tantalizingly just ahead, but doubt gnawed at her heart. Was it real? Would it save them, or was it a cruel illusion? Timmy's small hand wrapped instinctively tighter around hers. His eyes, wide and glistening with something other than terror, seemed to reflect the light. "I can feel it, Mommy. It's warm." The hope in his voice cut through her darkness, but she felt their footing shift and slide on the slimy rocks beneath them. Suddenly, the creature let out a howl that seemed to peel back the very fabric of reality. It surged upward, sending waves crashing over them. The water roared with a deafening intensity, muffling their voices, drowning out everything but fear. Sarah braced herself, wrapping her arms protectively around Timmy, pulling him close as they were swept away in the onslaught of the creature's wrath. The shimmer of the light danced above them, but it was now shrouded in chaos. The creature's shadow loomed behind, a monstrous silhouette etched against the glowing surface. "We can't stop," she shouted, forcing her feet to move, weaving through the torrents. The whispers were frantic, clamoring for her attention, a cacophony rising to meet the beast's fury. "Sarah! Join us. Come to the darkness." "No!" she screamed. "We want to go to you." In the height of the struggle, the creature's long, creeping appendage brushed against her leg. Ice shot through her veins. Shimmering scales glinted in the dim light as it flicked its tongue, tasting the air between them. It was hunting. Recognizing its prey. With sheer determination coursing through her veins, Sarah sought the light again, the pulse growing beckoning, urging her to trust in its warmth. "Hold on tight, Timmy. We're almost there." As they fought against the tide, the ground beneath their feet softened, the stones turning into mud. Sarah lunged forward, and suddenly the air thickened with electric anticipation. Just ahead, the light burst forth, illuminating a cavern beyond the water's surface, beckoning them into its embrace. But as they drew nearer, the water shuddered, and the edges of the light flickered with shadows. The whispers surged again, almost drowning out her thoughts. "You will never escape. You belong to us. Forever." "Mommy!" Timmy cried as he lost his footing on the shifting ground. The creature roared, fiery anger vibrating through the air, crashing down like a hammer of doom. Sarah felt her heart racing. Time was running out. In a desperate move, she lunged forward, grabbing Timmy just as the water began to pull him away. Their bodies plunged into the brilliance, and for a moment, everything was still, but silence quickly shattered, and something gripped her from the top of the cavern, yanking them violently back toward the dark. The warmth vanished, replaced by an icy grip as they fell deeper into the shadowy void. "Mommy!" Timmy screamed, the word echoing into the abyss. Despair clawed at Sarah as she kicked against the darkness, flailing for something, anything to hold on to. But as they plummeted, the light above dimmed, leaving them suspended in terror, the creature's laughter swirling around them like a death knell. She felt the weight of the creature's presence draw near, a shadow poised to finish its hunt. Everything was fading, her strength and hope, everything but one thought. "We have to survive," she whispered, her voice barely audible. But would that be enough to resist the ultimate darkness? The descent continued, and as the abyss closed in, Sarah realized they were not alone in this terror. Faces from her past surged around her, twisted with anguish. Would they take her as well? Was there anyone left to help her fight her way back, or would she succumb to the dark? The depths loomed ominously ahead, more terrifying than she had ever known. Something was waiting, something ancient and powerful. As fear slithered through her, a chilling breath whispered her name. What awaited them in the depths, and could they escape the obliteration that loomed just beyond the darkness? The darkness closed in tighter around them as they spiraled into the depths, the sensation of falling giving way to the oppressive pressure of the cold void. Sarah clutched Timmy, but dread settled in her stomach, smothering any lingering hope. Faces drifted by, their mouths stretched in silent screams, their hollow eyes reflecting their endless torment. Friends from her youth lost, forgotten, consumed by this abyss. "Mommy, I'm scared." Timmy's voice trembled with the innocence of childhood, but that innocence was slipping away, absorbed by the shadows. "Hold on to me," she shouted, forcing herself to keep the panic in check. This wasn't how it was supposed to end. She had come too far. Their descent seemed unending, but then she spotted a glimpse of the light flickering above them, dim and wavering. It was a beacon, but so far away. Despair clutched at her heart like a vice. What if they couldn't reach it? What if they were completely alone in this nightmare? Suddenly, the floor of the abyss began to take shape. Rough, jagged stones emerged beneath her feet, and as she braced herself against the pull, she felt the ground solidify, anchoring them for just a moment. The icy grip around her faded slightly, emboldening her spirit. "Timmy, look!" she gasped, pointing to a cavernous opening nearby, suffused with a pale luminescence. "We can reach it." Before she could move, a shadow flicked through the corner of her eye, large and serpentine. A flicker of scales glinted in the faint light. Sarah's heart plummeted. The creature was hunting again, lurking just out of sight. The whispers rose to a cacophony, pressing against her ears. "Join us, it's too late, there is no escape, no," she yelled, voice raw with determination. "We will not yield." With newfound resolve, she stepped toward the glow, pulling Timmy with her. But the moment she turned her back, she felt the chill return, crawling over her skin as that familiar presence loomed overhead. "Mommy!" Timmy gasped, his grip tightening painfully around her hand. Sarah spun around just in time to witness the creature emerge, its massive body gliding effortlessly through the water. Mottled scales shimmered, reflecting whatever light dared to pierce the darkness. Eyes like burning embers fixed on their every movement, hungry and predatory. "Run!" Sarah screamed, the echo of fear racing through her veins. They bolted toward the cavern, feet pounding against the rough stone. The creature let out a ghastly roar, shaking the ground beneath them and igniting the whispers into a feral crescendo. the light seemed impossibly close now, yet each step felt heavier as if the darkness itself conspired to drag them back. Glancing over her shoulder, Sarah caught a glimpse of the creature's maw, brimming with rows of razor-sharp teeth, dark water spilling from its jaws as it surged closer, impossibly fast. "Mommy!" Timmy cried, his voice breaking her resolve, pulling her back to the moment. Glancing at him, she could see the terror in his eyes reflecting her own. "Just a little further," she urged, pumping her legs with every ounce of her waning strength. Her breath quickened, lungs on fire as they neared the cavern entrance. Just when escape seemed at hand, the ground shifted again, slick and treacherous. Timmy slipped, his hand sliding from hers. "No!" she screamed, plunging forward to catch him. She snatched his arm, but with each passing second, the creature was closing in. Its monstrous tide surged forward, filling her senses with the stench of decay. "Mommy, help!" Timmy gasped, eyes wide with terror. With a frantic cry, Sarah pulled him up just as the water crashed around them, almost knocking them off their feet. But they burst through the cavern's threshold, hitting solid ground. Heavy breathing filled the air, but they were still engulfed in shadows. The light inside the cavern flickered, revealing walls adorned with strange, arcane symbols, etched deep into the stone. A warning? A promise of salvation? The whispers quieted to an unsettling stillness as Sarah steadied herself, locking eyes with Timmy. They were safe for now, but the creature lurked just out of reach, its hungry growl vibrating through the stone. "What was that place?" Timmy whispered, trembling. "I don't know, but we must keep moving," Sarah replied, dread creeping back. The unknown awaited, its secrets and horrors just beyond the flickering light. With a resolve deepened by desperation, they stepped deeper into the cavern, the weight of the darkness pressing all around them, a reminder that safety was just a trick of light. As they ventured further, an omen slithered through her thoughts. What unseen horror awaited them deeper inside? Would they uncover the truth, or would this cavern be their tomb? The shadows were alive here, whispering promises of despair, beckoning them further. The air thickened as they moved deeper into the cavern, the flickering light casting long shadows that danced like specters on the walls. Sarah's heart raced with each step, the earlier exhilaration morphed into a gnawing fear that followed them like a ghost. Timmy clung to her side, his small frame trembling slightly, the innocence of childhood quickly replaced by a primal instinct to survive. "What if it comes after us?" Timmy whispered, glancing over his shoulder. "It won't," Sarah lied, though the words tasted bitter on her tongue. She couldn't shake the feeling that the creature was still close. Its presence seeped into the very stones around them, wrapping them in a claustrophobic grip. The symbols etched on the walls pulsed with an eerie energy, filling her with an inexplicable dread. They looked almost alive, writhing slightly, dampening the hope she felt when they first entered. Each symbol seemed to tell a story, one of torment, a reminder of those who had lost their freedom, their lives perhaps. "Mommy, can we go home now?" Timmy whimpered, and the sound of his voice shattered her resolve. Sarah knelt beside him, forcing a smile. "We just need to find a way out, Timmy. We'll be okay." But she knew the truth. Each word was a plea as much for herself as for him. As they pressed further, they reached a wide chamber, the ceiling arching high above them. Stalactites hung like fangs, ready to descend upon unsuspecting souls. The light became more erratic here, flickering as shadows stretched, warping the very air around them. Then, from the darkness, a whisper tugged at her ear, a voice all too familiar, tinged with malice. "Help us, join us, Mommy, what is that?" Timmy looked up, fear etched on his small face. "It's just the wind," she lied again, but even she felt the unease creeping into her bones. Then they saw it, a figure hovering near the far wall, translucent and sorrowful. It reached out with skeletal hands, its face contorted in agony. The recognition hit Sarah like a punch to the gut. It was someone she had lost, someone who once filled her life with laughter. The realization swept over her, stinging. "No, not now, Mommy!" Timmy cried, fear bleeding into his voice as the figure shifted toward them, whispering secrets both inviting and terrifying. "Don't look at it, Timmy!" Sarah shouted, pulling his face to her chest, her heart pounding. She needed to keep him safe, needed to push forward. But the darkness was thick, almost tangible, and she felt it trying to drag them back toward the figure, toward the voices that called in the shadows. That moment, a low rumble echoed from somewhere deep within the cavern, a warning that sent tremors through her limbs. The rock seemed alive, vibrating with something darker. Stone began to crack, shards falling like rain around them. "Run!" she shrieked, instinct overriding reason. They sprinted through the chamber, the whispers turning to wails that echoed off the walls. Ghostly faces appeared in the stone, reaching out as if to pull them into the abyss. Just as they neared the exit, a larger shadow detached from the darkness, growing and shifting. It was the creature, impossibly larger now, as if it drew strength from the seeping malice around them. With a horrific roar, it broke through the remnants of the earth, blocking their escape. "Mommy, please!" Timmy cried, the sound reverberating through the chamber, filled with desperation. They were trapped. The weight of despair crashed down upon them as the creature advanced, its maw opening wide, ready to devour them whole. But just as hope dwindled, Sarah spotted something glimmering against the far wall, an object, shimmering with promise. Or was it another trap? "Timmy, we have to go for that light," she shouted, desperation fueling her steps. With the creature closing in, they darted towards the shimmer, leaving the whales behind them, their fate hanging in the balance. What vile secret awaited them in that light? Would it be their salvation, or the final snare of the cavernous depths? As Sarah and Timmy approached the shimmering light, the creature's furious growl echoed behind them, a relentless reminder of the danger pursuing them. The light pulsed with energy, bright and inviting, yet cloaked in an unsettling aura that made Sarah hesitate. Was it a beacon of salvation, or another trick meant to consume them? "Mommy, hurry!" Timmy shouted, urgency threading through his voice. The air filled with tension as Sarah grasped Timmy's hand, fueling her determination with every beat of her heart. They had to reach that light. Each pounding footstep resonated with the creature's roar, their lives hanging in the balance between fear and hope. As they neared, the cavern around them shifted, the shadows intensifying, reaching out as if trying to hold them back. "We won't let it stop us," Sarah yelled, pushing forward, the light becoming a vivid blur in her vision. The symbols on the walls surged with a strange pulse, almost as if responding to their approach, shimmering and flickering like stars caught in a storm. "Look behind us!" Timmy cried, gaze snapping back. The creature surged from the shadows, its enormous form eclipsing parts of the light. Panic clawed at Sarah as sheer terror washed over her. They had to act now. "Timmy, hold on tight." Sarah squeezed his hand, her resolve hardening against the darkness that threatened to consume them both. As they closed in on the light, it burst into a blinding radiance, enveloping them in warmth that felt both protective and powerful. But Sarah knew they were not free yet. When the light swelled around them, the creature hesitated just for a moment, recoiling as if burned by the very essence of their hope. "This is it," Sarah shouted, mustering the courage that flickered like the neon glow in front of them. They jumped into the liminal space of the light, and the world around them erupted into colors swirling and dancing, a kaleidoscope of memories and forgotten dreams intertwining. But the relief was short-lived. The darkness surged forward, bellowing with fury. "You'll never escape." The voices of lost souls echoed through the chamber, a terrifying chorus of anguish wrapping tightly around Sarah's chest. In that instant, she and Timmy continued to run through the brightness, the pain of past trauma compelling Sarah but also fortifying her as she held on to her son. "Stay with me. Remember our love," she shouted, her voice a powerful force against the dark. As the creature's claws swiped at them, a momentary flash of dullness shrouded the light, revealing the creature's fractured soul, a reflection of their own fears and failures. Gathering every ounce of love and defiance, Sarah pictured the lives they would lead if they could escape. "We deserve light and joy," she cried, wrenching free of the lures of darkness. Timmy squeezed her hand tighter, his small heart beating in time with her own. The cavern felt alive, rocking as if in tumultuous motion. Names of lost children whispered through the walls, but instead of dragging them down, they became a wellspring of strength. "We will break free," Sarah declared, pushing forward with renewed vigor, blocking out the danger behind them. Then it happened, the tides of light surged faster, the pulse of brightness growing stronger until it shattered the dark space around them. At that moment, a final blinding flash erupted, splintering like glass, scattering the shadows, devouring the creature in a brilliant explosion of color. The whispers turned into wails of despair, fading into silence. As they emerged from the depths, Sarah gasped, dragging Timmy along with her until they finally stepped onto solid ground, the edge of Cedar Hollow, the sun bright above them, filtering through the leafy branches. Relief washed over her, the weight of darkness dissipating like fog in the morning light. She stumbled, collapsing onto the grass, embracing her son tightly. "We did it!" Sarah cried, her voice trembling with joy, tears streaming down her cheeks as she held Timmy close. His laughter echoed in her ears, a sweet melody that drowned out the past haunting them. "We're home, Mommy." Timmy cheered, his energy returning with each heartbeat, but even in the light, a shadow lingered at the edge of her mind. The lake would always hold stories of darkness, but they had faced it, and they had triumphed. They still carried scars, but survival felt sweeter now, and their love ignited a flame that could keep the darkness at bay. As they walked from the shore, embers of hope danced around them, a warm reminder that they had conquered fear together. The sun bathed Cedar Hollow in golden light, the laughter of children returned, and the lake, once a cursed depth, could no longer hold them hostage. They stepped into the embrace of the familiar, and finally, Sarah felt the grip of an ordinary life return, the long journey behind them. They were free, and the creature was but a ghostly memory beneath the surface. Together, they turned towards the vibrant life ahead, a promise that the strength of love and courage could overcome even the deepest darkness. Now, before you leave this incredible journey behind, there's something I need you to do. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this ending. I want to hear everything. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. True fans like you understand how vital this support is. Let us keep the magic alive.